Naishtiki, by regular attendance in the classes on Srimad Bhagvatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Granth Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1. The Supreme Lord is equal to everyone. In the last few verses, we were discussing this question by Yudhishtira Maharaj. So the reference is Shukdev Goswami is quoting Yudhishtira Maharaj, who also asked the same question, that is Lord partial to some and impartial to the others? Like he kills the demons and saves the demigods. So we were discussing the story of Sisupala, and I read a little bit more about Sisupala, that he was born actually with 3 eyes and 4 arms, the son of Krishna's boa or ant. So as soon as he was born, he was like braying like a ass, and then no one knew what to do. And then there was a celestial voice that whoever keeps him Sisupala in his lap, and the very moment when he goes to that right person's lap, his 1 eye and 2 arms would fall off. But the sad news is that the same person would be the cause of Sisupala's death. So when Krishna came and picked Sisupala in his lap, his 1 eye and 2 arms fell off. And then, because of the celestial voice, Sisupala's mother asked Krishna to please excuse his 100 insults. But during the Rajasuya Yagya, he crossed the limit and forgot.
The battery died on it. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. So during the Rajasuya Yagya, when Krishna was being honored as the first the one to be worshipped, Sisupala, because of his envy, could not tolerate that. And as a result, he started insulting, crossed the 100 limit, and Krishna killed him. But at that very point, he got the Sayojya Mukti, and later, we were discussing yesterday, later he did go as the eternal servant of Krishna as Jai. So let's continue with next verse, text number 17. Etad veditum ichhamaha sarva eva vayam muni bhagavan indaya veno dvijais tamasi patitah. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O great sage, we are all eager to know the cause for this mercy of the Lord. I have heard that formerly a king named Vena blasphemed the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all the Brahmanas consequently obliged him to go to hell. Sisupala should also have been sent to hell. How then did he merge into the Lord's existence? So Yudhishtira Maharaj is speaking this verse, and we have read before the story of King Vena. Can anyone tell who was the father of Vena?
Anga.
Anga, very nice. So Vena was not a good king. And who was the next king born from the churning of Vena?
Pitu
Maharaj. Very nice. And he was Pitu Maharaj later did a lot of wonderful activities. So we have already covered that story, I believe, in the 5th canto, correct?
4th canto.
4th canto. Thank you, Prabhu. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is quoting that a person who is totally opposed to the Brahmanical culture, like Vena, like Sisupala, should not be going to the Sayojya Mukti? It's a very genuine question by Yudhishtira Maharaj to Narada Muni. And this is a story within a story. So Shukdev Goswami is telling this to Parikshit, but they're going into the story, the conversation between Yudhishthira Maharaj and Narada Muni. So how did this happen? Very interesting question. So any other comments anyone has? Okay, let's read devotees who didn't get chance yesterday. Would someone like to read text 18?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read.
Please.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavakra, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Text 18. Dhamma Gosha Shuta Papa Aradhya Kala Vasana Samprati Amarshi Govinde Dandavakrascha Durmati. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. From the very beginning of his childhood, when he could not even speak properly, Sisupala, the most sinful son of Dhamagosha, began blaspheming the Lord, and he continued to be envious of Sri Krishna until death. Similarly, his brother Dandavakra continued the same habits. Hare Krishna. So here, Srila Narada Muni is explaining to Sri Yudhishthira Maharaj why, about the pastimes of that. That Sisupala was the son of Dhamagosha, and he was, as Prabhuji was mentioning, he was blaspheming Krishna, and because he was envious of Krishna. And same, his brother Dandavakra also did the same thing. Hare Krishna Prabhu, back to you, please add up to it.
This envy has come multiple times, and Nirmatsaranam Satam, that Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita is meant for people who are non-envious. Because everything can be used in Krishna's service but envy. In short, envy is something which has to be cut into pieces. And amongst the many anarthas, lust, anger, envy, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moh, Mad, Matsarya. So Matsarya means envy. As well as Bhakti Sri Maharaj was explaining, that it is the sixth. It is the last to go. It's very, very difficult to kill the envy, because it's very, very subtle. It's very, very, it's not just an external habit. Oh, that I will not eat this food product. Oh, I will not go to watch cinema. Those habits are relatively easier to overcome. But the subtler habits are very, very difficult to overcome. So envy is very, very subtle, very, very deep-rooted. And until we kill the Sisupala mentality, we cannot make spiritual progress. We cannot be qualified to go back to Krishna's abode. So, and Sisupala had that from very childhood. The first word he spoke was insults to Krishna. Okay, any other comments? And envy is like, and I shared a video with in the group. It's very, when we see with like a drama, it speaks a lot. So envy is like, how can other person get glorification? Why not me? Why not I be the recipient of the Agra Puja? Why Krishna? And that is the fundamental reason we are here. The desire to be the center. When the desire is to keep Krishna as the center, it's Krishna conscious. When the desire is to keep me and my envy in the center, or my false ego, that's kama or lust. And when anyone else becomes the center, oh, why that person got glorification? Oh, I did so much service, but that devotee got the glorification. That's not good. That's actually envy. So it's very, very deep rooted, and I'm just speaking for myself that it's very, very it's very challenging. But until we overcome, we cannot go, and therefore we read Bhagavatam so that we can overcome that material contamination. Yes. Anyone else? Okay. Would someone like to read the next verse?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can. Dandavat Pranam.
Can you hear me, Prabhu? Yeah. Nandini Mataji, you want to read? So, Prabhu, you can read the next one.
Yes, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Text 19. Shapato rasa krud Vishnu yada brahma param avyayam shvitro na jato jivyayam nandvam vivisha tustamam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Although these two men, Sisupala and Dandavakra, repeatedly blasphemed the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu or Krishna, the Supreme Brahman, they were quite healthy. Indeed, their tongues were not attacked by white leprosy, nor did they enter the darkest region of hellish life. We are certainly most surprised by this. Purport. Krishna is described by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita 10.12 as follows. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavana. You are the Supreme Brahman, the Supreme Abode and Purifier. Herein this is confirmed. Vishnum Yad Brahma, Param Avyayam. The Supreme Vishnu is Krishna. Krishna is the cause of Vishnu, not vice versa. Similarly, Brahman is not the cause of Krishna. Krishna is the cause of Brahman. Therefore, Krishna is Param Brahman. Yad Brahma, Param Avyayam. So, Maharaj Yudhishthira's sincere inquiry is continuing. How come these two brothers, Sisupala and Dandavakra, despite blaspheming, their tongues did not fall off, they did not enter the hellish life forever, and this is really astonishing. So we know that if someone, as you sow, so you reap. If for every action there is a reaction, so how come this is justice is not served? This is the biggest offense, and how come they just were let go? And Prabhupada explains this in the purport, because Krishna is the supreme purifier. Krishna purified just because they were thinking of Krishna. They got purified. Their existence got purified. One time Narada Muni was asking some devotee about Kamsa, or Narada Muni himself was asked, and he said, I wish I was as fortunate as Kamsa. He thought about Krishna all the time, although it was to kill him, but he thought of Krishna all the time. So because of thinking about Krishna, they got purified. Krishna is Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. Krishna is the ultimate purifier, and he is the cause of all causes, and even Supreme Brahman comes from him. So in this way, Prabhupada is explaining that if Krishna is the cause of any causes, and if he's thinking about him is so purifying, or he's the supreme purifier, no matter what, if you are thinking about it, or you're doing actions to do it, or however you are getting purified, but Krishna, this is Krishna's supreme potency that he can do it. So he can be exception to the whole universal laws, in my opinion. So, and this is how Krishna may, somebody blasphemes a devotee, Krishna may right away intercept and may give a leprosy, like we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita. But when Krishna himself, he purifies them. He chooses to give them their mercy. And that's how much I understand too. Please add. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Prabhu, you are on mute if you are speaking. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu, now we can.
Yes, sorry. There are multiple pastimes in Chaitanya Charitamrita and within the life of Haridas Thakur, or in the life of Sant Tukaram, or where they were offended by certain atheistic or envious people, and as a result, they developed leprosy or severe bodily problems. That's the context Maharaj Yudhishthira is referring to. But in this situation, they were very healthy. They didn't get something like that. Rather, they got they entered Krishna's body, Sayujya Mukti. So that's what startled Yudhishthira Maharaj. The destination which the great people, yogis and jnanis aspire, they got it so easily. So all this is just additional facts to the query of Maharaj Yudhishthira. And Prabhupada is making a very important point. It's just, which often is a question, that Krishna is the cause of Vishnu, not vice versa. That ultimately Krishna is the cause of all causes, all the Vishnu avatars, Vaikunta lokas and other lokas and everything, that he is the Param cause. He's the Adi Purusha. He's the original cause. Yes, Sudhir Prabhu, you want to continue?
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me right, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I had some problem initially. So, okay, Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavakra. Text number 20. Katam tasmin bhagavati durvagrayata mani pasyatam sarvalokana layam yat anjasa. Translation and purport by Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Jai. How was it possible for Sisupala and Dandavakra, in the presence of many exalted persons, to enter very easily into the body of Krishna, whose nature is difficult to attain? Purport. Sisupala and Dandavakra were formerly Jaya and Vijaya, the doorkeepers of Vaikunta. Merging into the body of Krishna was not their final destination. For some time they remained merged, and later they received the liberation of Sarupya and Salokya, living on the same planet as the Lord in the same bodily form. The Shastras give evidence that if one blasphemes the Supreme Lord, his punishment is to remain in hellish life for many millions of years, more than one suffers by killing many Brahmanas. Sisupala, however, instead of entering hellish life, immediately and very easily received Sayujya Mukti. That such a privilege has been offered to Sisupala was not merely a story. Everyone saw it happen. There was no scarcity of evidence. How did it happen? Maharaj Yudhistira was very much surprised. So, very wonderful translation here. So here we see Maharaj Yudhistira was confused how come Sisupala and Dandavakra, who were very, very inimical to Lord Krishna, but how did they enter Krishna, and how did it happen? So here Prabhupada is clearly explaining that they are none other than Jaya Vijaya, who were doorkeepers of Vaikunta Loka, and they had taken this 3 lifetimes of hellish planets instead of 7 lifetimes of as a devotees, because they want to come back to Krishna as soon as possible. And here Lord Srila Prabhupada clearly explains how these are how they remain merged in Krishna only for some time, and later, they received, Sarupya and Salokya, where it is kind of living on the same planet as the Lord, like I think Vaikunta. But Shastra give evidence that whenever we blaspheme Lord Krishna, so that gives more punishment, even more than killing a Brahmana. But Sisupala, instead of getting the hellish planet, he immediately received Sayujya Mukti. I think it is kind of Brahma Jyoti later. So such a privilege is offered to Sisupala only because of his position as Jay and Vijay. So, and everyone saw this happen clearly in front of their eyes. So that's why everyone were very surprised, including Maharaj Yudhishtira, and he is very much concerned about how this might happen. So I think we have to be very careful, not even in our thought or dream or anywhere, because whatever we think, that becomes our dreams. That's what they say. So we should not blaspheme anyone, not even an insect. Of course, that is very, very hard to achieve in this material world, but at least we should, try to do it, try to have a goal of such things, so that we don't, even, if we see pure devotees, they were always not even inimical. Even we have read about Jadabharata, he was not even trying to hurt an ant. So if we are able to see such kind of compassion towards all living entities, then we'll not even think about, blaspheming any devotees or, pure devotees and devotees of the devotees, and or does not even come about Lord Krishna. So I have a question, probably I'll ask later. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. I think 2 days back there was some discussion around this. Prabhupada is very clearly mentioning that Brahmajyoti was not their final destination. They ultimately went back to Vaikunta, Salokya, same loka, referring to Paraloka or Vaikunta Loka, Sarupya, beforehand in Vishnu form. That's the form they had as the doorkeepers beforehand in Vishnu form in the Vaikunta Loka. So they went back over there eventually. That was their final destination. They took a stop, like we take a stop. So they took a stop in Brahmajyoti.
Yeah, so that was my question, Prabhu. So first it says that they entered Lord Krishna for some time, and then they went to kind of Brahmajyoti, and then they came back to Vaikunta Loka as Jay and Vijay, right, Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay.
Merging into the body of Krishna is referring here to the impersonal merging which the Jnanis and Yogis aspire, and that is referred to as Sayujya Mukti or impersonal liberation. But that was not their final destination.
So is that equivalent to entering the Brahmajyoti also, Prabhuji, or no? Merging into Lord Krishna at that time?
Now in this situation, this is compared to that, Sayujya Muktis. But there are other situations, like some of the Alvars and Mirabai and etc. It is mentioned that they also entered in Krishna's deity that's different. So we have to be very case-to-case basis. In this situation where Prabhupada is writing, merging into Krishna's body, that's reference to Sayojya Mukti, which we have discussed in the previous verses. So merging into Krishna's deity, many devotees have done that in the past. Andal is a famous example, and in the north, Mirabai is a famous example, and there are many, many other such. They were pure Vaishnavas. So that is not impersonal merging. But in this scenario,
because they were devotees, they were always serving, Padmavati, and they also merged into Lord Venkateshwara. So those are all they are devotees, but it is kind of going back to Vaikunta Loka, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Vaikunta Loka or whatever the spiritual planet, we cannot say that. Depends on their connection and depends on Krishna. But yes, which Vaikunta planet we don't know. Is it Golok Vrindavan? Is it some Narsingha Loka or Vamana Loka or Kurma Loka? We don't know that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Any other comments anyone has? Okay. Someone like to read or didn't read it yesterday? Yes, Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
I just want to, in the last verse, Nandini Mataji, she was saying that Yudhishtira Maharaj is asking why he didn't get leprosy. So I was just thinking about in Mahaprabhu's Leela, there are at least so many, 3 occasions we know that people were blaspheming. One is Ramchandra Puri, and another one was Srila Shabho Thakur's daughter-in-law, Amog. And so in those kind of situations, both the situations, those Ramchandra Puri or Amog had a cholera, but he was, rescued by Mahaprabhu's blessing because he was Shabho Thakur's relatives. But we see that at the same time, Chapal Gopal, he also blasphemed to actually Srivas Thakur. He put all the liquor and some other paraphernalia for the pujas for Kali and left it in front of his door, and he started blaspheming. And then he developed the leprosy. So from that past times, you see that the Lord is, he becomes more angry, or when he see that his devotees are being blasphemed instead of him. We also saw that the students, they were blaspheming Mahaprabhu. That's why he is saying okay. But Mahaprabhu didn't get any bad karma or bad anything for them. But on the other way, Mahaprabhu took sannyas one. So we can see that Lord was very merciful. Even whoever blasphemed him, he didn't take revenge or anything. But when his devotee was blasphemed, then they got their karma, action of that karma. Just want to.
Thank you so much for the very nice reference. Would someone like to read the next verse? Raghu Prabhu, you want to read 21?
Yeah, I can do that. Thank you. Hare Krishna devotees, text. Are you able to hear?
Yes, Prabhu.
Haribol.
Someone has...
Yes, Bhadra Prabhu, you want to say something? We can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me? It's my internet or whatever. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. The point here is about Dandavakra. When Yudhishthira Maharaj asking this question about Sisupala, Dandavakra is not killed. Keep that in mind. Dandavakra is all the way up to the end. At the end of the will be killed. But Yudhishthira and Narada Muni will tell about Dandavakra to Yudhishthira later on. But here Yudhishthira is still saying that because he knows that Dandavakra will die. So that's because question might be asked, how is this when Yudhishthira asks his question? The Dandavakra is not killed. Dandavakra is coming later time. So that's what is here. The point is mentioned that Yudhishthira knows that Dandavakra is going to be killed. That is going to happen, and that's why he's putting that point here. Thank you.
Okay, I'll read now. Text 21, Hare Krishna devotees. Etad brahmyati mi buddhir dipachir iva vayuna brayita vayuna, right, air. Brayita adutatmam Bhagavan hi atra karmanam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Sri Prabhupada. Translation. This matter is undoubtedly very wonderful. Indeed, my intelligence has become disturbed. Just as the flame of a candle is disturbed by a blowing wind. O Narada Muni, you know everything. Kindly let me know the cause of this wonderful event. The Shastras enjoin Tat Vijnaratam Sa Gurum Eva Gachit. When one is perplexed by the difficult problems of life, to solve them, one must approach a guru like Narada or his representative in the disciplic succession. Maharaj Yudhishthira therefore requested Narada to explain the cause for such a wonderful event. So back to you, Prabhu. Please explain further.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yudhishthira Maharaj, after sharing some of the facts from his understanding, what was the outcome? My mind is disturbed, my intelligence is disturbed, like a candle is disturbed by a blowing wind. So the lesson here is that we cannot understand Krishna or his wonderful pastimes by our own mind and intelligence. We must approach, Prabhupada is clearly mentioning, we must approach a guru, a seeker. Seeker. That's the first lesson. That a bona fide spiritual master like Narada Muni, who can help us to understand. And Prabhupada is mentioning who can help us to solve the difficult situations. Whether it is the coronavirus, and as many devotees have posted so many videos, devotees have solution to all problems of life. That doesn't mean that we get sick and philosophical understanding, like what is this coronavirus or what is this situation. Spiritual life gives us the strength and understanding to handle each and every situation of life, because difficulties will come in everyone's life, because that's the nature of this world. So, but when we seek a spiritual master, when we seek the shelter of devotees, then we can understand them in their right perspective and truly understand their correct meaning. By our own understanding, the outcome will be confusion. And that's what happens in Bhagavad Gita also. Arjuna gave a lot of logical arguments to not fight. And what was the outcome? His outcome was, at the end of the chapter, grief, lamentation. He says, my hands are shaking. I gave the Gandiva. I don't know what to do, what not to do. I'm confused. And he took shelter of Krishna and asked for guidance. So here, same scenario. He tried to give some logical arguments that this happened to Sisupala, this happened to other people who generally blaspheme, they get leprosy. Well, Vena, he blasphemed, this happened. He also scenario with there's Sisupala. So he's trying to understand one's by one's own and intelligence is not possible. Just imagine, without Prabhupada's purpose, without Prabhupada's translation, trying to understand this Bhagavatam, we will not be able to comprehend anything. Okay. Any other comments anyone has? Okay, let's read one more verse and then we will stop. Someone like to read next verse, 22. Someone who didn't read today?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can read text 22. Sri Bhadrayanir Uvacha Ragyastat Vacha Akarnya Narado Bhagavan Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, now I can hear.
Ragyastat Vacha Akarnya Narado Bhagavan Rishi Tushta Prahatam Abhasya Srinavatyastat Sada Katha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, after hearing the request of Maharaj Yudhishtira, Narada Muni, the most powerful spiritual master who knew everything, was very pleased. Thus he replied in the presence of everyone taking part in the yajna. So this verse is telling us that the Rajasuya yajna which is going on, and Yudhishthira Muni is asking a wonderful question to Narada Muni after witnessing the merging of the soul of Sisupala into Krishna. And we see why good questions are always appreciated by the spiritual master. And Narada Muni is very pleased with Yudhishthira. Thank you, Prabhuji. Would you like to add or correct? Dandavakra, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. So, very straightforward. Now, Muni will answer from the next verse onwards, which we will see tomorrow. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties. These things are beyond our control. But I think the lesson there is that earlier I was taking things for granted. Oh, just connect and I get devotee association. But Krishna is trying to teach that devotee association and Bhagavad association and reading Bhagavatam with devotees is not an easy thing. Durlabha manusho deho dehinam shanbhavam tatrapi durlabham manye Vaikunta priyadarshanam. Taking association of devotees and reading Bhagavatam is a very, very rare thing. So we must really strive for it. Even if it doesn't work, network issues, try with app, try with phone, try with laptops. Really, it's time to show our eagerness. Okay, if it doesn't work for first few minutes, we try again. And if we are really sincere, we pray to Krishna, please help this thing to connect, and it's just a way to absorb more, and so that we can value more what we are getting. That's my understanding after technical issues.
So thank you so much for joining and showing your eagerness in spite of tough times. I'm so grateful to everyone. Grantraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktavind ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevcha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.